Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Young Mustard coming at you once again. Now, I know a lot of y'all are already hitting that dislike button. Y'all are already calling me a dumbass in the comment section, but calm down. Just because I say something is not as impressive as you think doesn't mean it's not impressive, just like Russell Westbrook's current NBA season. Russell Westbrook is having an outstanding season, but when you really break down what he's doing and what he is accomplishing this season, you kind of start to realize, this isn't as great as everybody says it is. Now, don't get me wrong, Russell Westbrook is currently averaging a triple-double, and only one player in history has been able to do that throughout the whole season, and that player only did it once, and that was Oscar Robertson in the 1961 to 1962 NBA season. Now, people like to make the argument that Russell Westbrook is the best point guard in the league simply due to the fact that he has a triple-double. Some people say he's the second best player in the league. Some people think he's better than Steph Curry. Some people think he's better than Kevin Durant. Hell, some people think he deserves to win MVP this year. There are multiple reasons I can give you that why Russell Westbrook's season isn't as great as you really think it is. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys 3 reasons why Russell Westbrook's current NBA season isn't as impressive as you might think. Number 3, turnovers. Now, everyone knows that Russell Westbrook is one of the worst point guards that this league's ever seen whenever it comes to turnovers. Now, don't get me wrong, Russell Westbrook, I think if he focused on it, he could improve his turnover ratio, but I just don't think he really gives a shit. Now, Russell Westbrook, the reason turnovers are very harmful is because it slows momentum, and he gives a lot of fast break opportunities and points because of the fact that he turns it over. Now, let's look at some of these stats when it comes to turnovers this season. Now, when it comes to teams that are in the playoffs this season at this moment that I speak, Russell Westbrook averages 4 turnovers a game. That's not too bad when you compare it to his season average, which is 5. Now, don't get me wrong, 4 turnovers a game is actually pretty bad for any player, but let's cut him some slack because that's less than his whole season average. But when you look at the top 4 teams that are in both conferences, it looks horrible. I mean, this is garbage turnover ratio right here. Against the Cavs, he's averaging 5.5 turnovers a game. Against Boston, he's averaging 5.5 turnovers a game. Against Washington, he's averaging 5 turnovers a game. Against Toronto, he averages 8 turnovers a game. Now, against Golden State, he averages 9. Against San Antonio, he averages 6. Against Houston, he averages 6.3. And against Utah, he averages 5.5. Now, a lot of y'all are sitting here saying he's only played San Antonio, Washington, and Toronto one time, but guess what? He's still putting up the same amount of turnovers that he puts up against Cleveland, Boston, Houston, and Utah, and Golden State. Well, actually, Golden State, his is a bit higher, but still, I'm going to cut him some slack on that because the Golden State Warriors, they're packed. Let's just be real here. Now, when you get the averages for all those teams, Russell Westbrook against top 4 teams from both conferences, Russell Westbrook's averaging 6.5 turnovers a game. You saw that. We went from 4 turnovers a game against teams that are in the playoffs to 6.5 to when he's playing teams that are in the top 4 in the playoffs. Now, a lot of people like to use this argument that Russell Westbrook's by himself. But guess what? There was another point guard who I believe was by himself as well. His name was Chris Paul. I don't know if you remember, but he was in this place called, I believe, the New Orleans Hornets. Yeah, that's what it was. That team would have been a walking piece of trash if it wasn't for the fact that Chris Paul knew how to utilize every single player to the best of their ability. But Russell Westbrook doesn't know how to do that because he keeps turning the ball fucking over. Number 2, efficiency. Now, we all know Russell Westbrook is one of the worst players in the league when it comes to taking the right shots at the right time or even how to take the shot. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City to begin with. Now, Russell Westbrook, you can just take one look at his stats and you can take one look at that efficiency percentage and you can see how horrible it is. Now, Russell Westbrook's 3-point attempts this season per game has been 7. That is more than CJ McCollum, Kyrie Irving, and yes, even his former teammate Kevin Durant, who left him to go to Golden State. Now, don't use the excuse that he's by himself, because Chris Paul, even when he was by himself in New Orleans, guess what? The most he ever averaged in one season in 3-point attempts was 3. I dare Russell Westbrook to average that in one season.
Theoretically, give them the 8th and final playoff spot. Keep in mind, Oklahoma City played 70% or better ball each of the previous 3 years. So certainly within the realm of possibility.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about in the open, most dangerous 5 and 13 team we've ever seen.
The number one reason why Russell Westbrook's season this year has been not as impressive as people think is because they're not winning games. Now, say what you want. Say Russell Westbrook's the best point guard in the league because he's averaging triple doubles. If you're doing that and then you're not winning games, it really doesn't matter, because what really matters is what you do and what you accomplish. Russell Westbrook this year, it looks like he's just going to be eliminated in the first round, which isn't very good. It doesn't look very good. I believe this season, everyone thought they would at least get 4th or 5th seed, or maybe even 3rd if Russell Westbrook could carry them that far. I mean, let's be honest here. If Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook were switched, are you going to tell me that Steph Curry wouldn't take this team to at least the 3rd seed? I truly believe that. I believe Steph Curry would find a way to make everyone around him effective, because people really underrate the ability of Steph Curry as a point guard. I think he would have found a way to make Victor Oladipo more effective, found a way to make Steven Adams more effective, and even found a way to make Enes Kanter coming off the bench extremely effective. The only problem is he's not a great defender. Now, let's just be honest here. If Russell Westbrook somehow, some way, managed to fuck up this season and just screw the whole team over and not make the playoffs, are you going to sit here and tell me that this season is not a failure for Russell Westbrook, at least to not make the playoffs, when you have at least some talent there to make the playoffs? He could at least get the 7th or 8th seed, which I believe they're in the 7th seed right now. If he didn't make the playoffs, who gives a shit if he had a triple-double season? They fucking didn't make it. I mean, let's just look at the Warriors from last year. They went all the way to the finals. They had a 73-9 record. But guess what? People aren't going to consider that the greatest season of all time. They're going to consider that the greatest regular season, but they're not going to consider that team whenever they're naming teams like the Bad Boy Pistons, or Larry Bird and the Celtics, or Michael Jordan, Rodman, and Pippen, the 1995 to 96 Bulls. They're not going to give a shit about the Warriors. They're not going to name them because they didn't get the job done. I mean, Kevin Durant knew that numbers are meant to be broken. Records are meant to be broken by players later on down the line. Oscar Robertson's season was meant to be repeated once again, and Russell Westbrook is just doing that role. I mean, the championship is nothing that they can take away from you. That's why Kevin Durant left the Golden State. I mean, let's just be real. When you win a championship, your name is cemented in history forever. Records are meant to be broken, people. We're just seeing Russell Westbrook do what someone else was going to eventually do later on. I mean, let's just be real here. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook's season this year is not impressive. I'm just simply saying there are some things that he's doing this year that are not very impressive. I mean, there is the turnovers, there is the efficiency, and when you add that up, that equals the number one thing, which is not winning. He's not winning games like he should be. I mean, this season, I expected them to at least be the 4th seed, but now they're in the 7th seed. I mean, come on now. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and add me on Snapchat. Now, you guys give me a comment in the comment section. Give me your opinion. Do you think I was wrong? Do you think I was biased? Do you think I'm just being a hater, or do you agree with me? Give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Peace.